Hi, my name is Paul Carr, and I'm producer of the Unseen podcast. As we've discussed on a recent episode called Meta Solo, we're thinking of ending the podcast. Well, I'm thinking of ending the podcast and what to do with all the resources and goodwill and people that have come to the podcast over the years. And obviously, I don't want to just cut it off. And I'm certainly not going to ghost you by just running away and not doing any more episodes. So what to do? And as we discussed in that episode, the leading candidate was spinning it back into the wow signal, which is what we're doing. That's the decision I've made. And now I'm still open to somebody else taking over the Unseen podcast. But so far, no one's bitten on that. If you want to, email me at unseenpodcast@gmail.com and I'll give you all the details. And more power to you if you want to do that. If you want to do a similar podcast, well, I can provide some advice. It doesn't have to be in English, it could be in a different language. But that's what we're doing. We're spinning back into the wow signal, and we will be doing something in a bit different than the Unseen podcast and not as often. We will have focused panel discussions with a panel that I largely select, of course, volunteers, but that I largely select. Many of the people will be people who've been panelists on the Unseen podcast previously. And those people plus some other new people that I hope to recruit over the next year or so. And the thing is that the topic will be more or less picked out by me, maybe suggested by somebody else, but I'm going to be more autocratic and dictatorial about the topic. And I am going to recruit people to be on the panel rather than just saying who wants to be on the panel this week. So that and the top, and will probably be shorter, probably be like a 30-minute to 40-minute discussion, which will then wrap up. Whether we roll that into a full Wow Signal episode or we have a separate format that's just that Wow Signal Live, that's the working title for it right now, is to be determined, and I will provide more details as we settle in. We may try one or two things and they not work, and then we'll try something else, but we'll eventually settle into a format. I want to keep doing the long format Wow Signal episodes that have possibly multiple topics or related topics addressed in the same episode. And I also want to have the shorter bursts, which I do more of these days because, they're easy to produce. Just sit down, talk, and then record it and put it out. I'll probably get some new music. If you have some ideas, let me know, but I am very picky about music. So don't be upset if I reject your suggestion. And then also I want to have we'll continue to do that. The people that have been participating in the Unseen podcast over the last 3.5 years, I'm very happy to have met those people. There's only 2 or 3 that I've actually ever met in real life, but I consider many of them now friends, even though we haven't met, and we probably will meet someday. But it's been working for me socially. The problem has been the structure of the podcast itself. It has not been working. And it's gotten worse, and the audience is thinned out, and we're just not growing at all. And we're not advancing. We're not moving forward. So hopefully with this new format, we will move forward. We'll move the Wow Signal forward, which has been stagnant in the last few months, and I apologize for that. That's my fault. A lot of other things have been going on in my life. I will not ghost any podcast. I will definitely tell you when it's ending, like I'm telling you now, that the Unseen podcast has 3, maybe 4 more sessions for recording. And we're going to do a Halloween episode, I hope. I already have some people interested. That will cover the usual sort of goofy, spooky, scary topics from a somewhat skeptical point of view. I really hope that I can get James Garrison in for that. He's always fun on that kind of thing. And whoever else wants to participate. And we'll do that. That will probably get 2 episodes out of that session. We will do then a goodbye session. We'll probably do 2, one for people in the Western Hemisphere, significantly west of the Greenwich Meridian, and then people more in Europe and Asia. And that would be another session at a different time. I'll have a holiday coming up where I can record that. And then the next thing is going to be, if possible, we'll have David Grigg on for an hour or so to talk about his science fiction novel, and we'll bandy with panelists who have hopefully read at least some of it. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but by the end of the year, we will not be recording any more episodes for the Unseen podcast, and we will wrap it up. We will continue to make the episodes available to anyone who wants to listen to them for at least a year, maybe 2 years. I'm thinking at some point I'll just look and see if the downloads are dwindled down to 0, and then I will somehow archive the podcast. How I'm going to do that, I don't know. It's a lot of work to put together all the MP3s and put them on archive.org, but I might do that. The other thing is the blog will stay open, although I think we're going to disable comments. That's unseenpodcast.com. That only cost me $10 a year to keep it open, so I will do that. And we will also, like I said, stay in touch with everybody who wants to stay in touch from the Unseen podcast. And I think we'll probably, I don't know exactly what platform we're going to. It certainly won't be Google Plus, because it's, as you probably know, is closing down. It's, I think, a superior platform for what we wanted to do with the Unseen podcast to anything else I'm aware of. But we'll probably move to Discord, which I think may actually work pretty well. And we'll stay in touch there. And from there, I hope to pull some panelists for some of my Wow Signal episodes. So if you want to know about that, send me an email at unseenpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll let you know where that is and how you can tag up with us. It's going to be kind of a private party, but not completely. People who are interested in joining that Discord can make a case for it. Then we'll let you in. But it's not going to be for lurkers. Okay. The email address, of course, will stay up, and we will be moving over to the Wow Signal. That's wowsignalpodcast.com, or you can email wowsignalpodcast@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me there. And I'm looking forward to a lot of great future episodes and great late night discussions of deep topics. And as for the Unseen Pub, I think we're going to say goodbye to that, but it may be replaced with something similar, just, an unedited, uncontrolled, unedifying gabfest. And that may be in our near future. There may be one of those as we sort of start winding up on Discord. So I'm hoping that everybody will be available who's currently participating in the podcast, and we'll see you over there. And so it's not going away. The subject matters are still there. They're still fascinating. The people are still around. And if you haven't been on a panel in a long time, that's okay. You're welcome to join us over at our new platform. If you've been a guest on the podcast, you're welcome to join us. Or just somebody who's been participating with us in discussions. And so this will all be out on Twitter. At Podcast Unseen will stay open on Twitter. We won't be tweeting there much. You probably want to follow us at Podcast Wow primarily after the end of the year. And we have a Facebook page, but we don't really use it that much because I don't like the way Facebook does it. I won't go into the details of that. It's just annoying. Facebook in general has been pretty annoying lately. If my family were not on it, I wouldn't be on it. So, what else? Well, thank you for supporting us. If you've supported us on patreon.com, I appreciate that. You can also go to patreon.com/wowsignal, where you're only billed if we put out a full-length episode. So you're at no risk of paying monthly for something that you're not receiving. You will pay I only will charge you whatever your pledge is when we put out a full-length episode of the Wow Signal, which we haven't done in quite a long time. It's been a long time. So we're going to do more of those, though, and how we handle the Wow Signal Live billing is to be determined. But if you want to help that prosper, go over to patreon.com/wowsignal, and we will be happy to see you there. And yes, there will be bonus materials for Patreon supporters and all kinds of other things that, definitely Patreon supporters are invited to the Discord. They'll be the first ones to get the invitation. It's not an afterthought. So, thank you for your help and your listening and your support. And I hope to see you and hear from you soon in lots of different ways. And so the Unseen podcast was one of those structures that worked for a while, failed to really blossom and thrive. So it's going to go, and we'll miss it a little, but for the most part, we're not missing the things that were important about it. So goodbye and see you soon.